EP03, the Priesthood Dispatches After Dinner Chat. If anyone saw 21st Century Saints last night, it got far too serious. So this evening, don't want to leave you in any doubt that the seriousness is over. I'm coming from an undisclosed location somewhere in the world. It's very cold. I have my tie on for General Conference. It's been the week when soaking and the Provo hump has become world news across the globe. And who would have thought that two still Mormons could make such a splash in the world of S&M? Fantastic. Okay, it's too hot now. So this evening, special, we've got General Conference coming up, which is Comic-Con for cults. So, Peter, we've only just begun. We've got with us Nemo the Mormon and PeterBleakley, and we're gonna run through predictions for General Conference, what General Conference means to us, and what's happening in the blogosphere leading up to this General Conference. But first of all, we'll have a quick intro, first from Nemo, and then Peter. If you can bear your testimony after, that would be fantastic.
Hi everyone, I'm Nemo. I run a YouTube channel, Nemo The Mormon, where I fact check and critique church media, whether that's General Conference talks, whether that's church promotional videos, or anything in between those sort of areas. I'll look into that. I'll also look into apologetics from time to time. So that's what I do. I come from a fact-based perspective, but I've been known to have some fun. Mormon Meme Review is also at home on my channel. We look through memes, we laugh at memes. I'm the only living member of the church to interview the prophet Joseph Smith. If you haven't seen that, check it out. And I'm really happy to be here. So Nemo the Mormon, that's my channel.
Fantastic. Peter.
Hi, I'm PeterBleakley. I run the Mormon Civil War sort of podcast and YouTube channel. I was recently excommunicated for apostasy for what's in it, which requires hours of listening. So they really suffered to find out enough to do that to me. And I kind of do what Nemo does, but really like much longer. And so we're a good team. He's like the intense distilled version. I'm the laborious, nerdy sort of thing going on. But we're British and we're here to be angry.
So with Peter's length in mind, I'll let that sit for a moment. Me and Nemo have come equipped with bell ends.
Yeah.
Hey!
Were Peter to enter one of his rants, there is only one rule. So Peter, listen out. Your length may meet our bell end.
Excellent.
Okay. So we're going to jump straight in, and we're going to go to a General Conference meme stash. So Peter, Nemo, and myself have been putting together over the last few days what's out there in the blogosphere with regards to General Conference and basically the funny crap that people are putting online. So we're going to go through a few of those. Yeah. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's just share this screen.
We'll have to do the memes through interpretive dance, Nemo. Yeah. You do the other bit.
Yeah. Thank you for this one, James. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I put out there, I put this on the Priesthood Dispatches, and a lot of people came back and said, "Oh, we never dressed up at home," and I'm just like, really? How can you possibly feel the spirit like that?
No.
I think this has been something that's been a key indicator of fundamentalness during Zoom church. So in our wards, you've got, you have the families who are still like, we are doing this all right. Everyone's sitting in the living room in their Sunday best, looking amazing. And then, like, most of the rest of the ward aren't even showing themselves visually because we all know they're tucked up in bed with some cereal and a hot water bottle or something.
The days of
And
garment checking are over. It's now just who's wearing what to Zoom
it's
church.
like, wait, do you actually show yourself on Zoom church?
Yes.
That's the key. That is sorting the men from the boys as far as your Pharisee spirituality goes.
But when PD shared this, he said, so dressed up in all your Sunday best, we were taught to dress like we were ready for Jesus to arrive. And I said, well, that's exactly what I did. I dressed as though Jesus was going to arrive. That's why I was often in nothing but my garments.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Exactly. We've got a temple recommend. Don't burn us.
Fantastic.
I just have to show my holiness, you know.
Yeah.
Are you righteous?
That meme's brilliant because it just shows like the difference between the ideal and the real that actually goes on in Mormon life.
I think that's when I was a kid and you go to priesthood session, that was like the quintessential nightmare of like you got up every Sunday anyway, but on the Sunday when everyone saw it as a week off. But your dad was righteous enough to force you
to the priesthood session
through the door. And it was awful.
Although I will say PD, hate to be this guy, but that quote there is Jeffrey R. Holland, it's not Russell M. Nelson. He was there almost in tears when he said it, but that's Russell. That's
fact-checking the memes.
Sorry, I can't help it, all right?
Mate, I give not a shit. I did not put that meme together. 100% stolen.
Oh, absolutely. I think all of these are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we've got the Gen Con.
Zoom that in a bit.
People fanboying. See if we can. It's pretty.
There you go.
Pixelated, but I think we can get the idea. You know, it's like a football team of geriatrics and octogenarians. Ready to come and rock your world.
Absolutely.
But it really is, you know, people, it is kind of the celebrity moment. It is people, I think it's kind of a weird celebrity that occurs that we think, oh, what's this person going to say? Oh, I loved what they said. And it's all incredibly like niche.
But they never play into it.
Yeah.
They totally never make people stand up when they walk in the room or anything like that. They never play into this celebrity.
Thank goodness they're humble apostles of Christ who read Matthew 23, that they're not allowed to have the posh seats or give themselves titles, you know, like Jesus taught. So,
well, I think later on we get to the Ramiumptum, which is... I had to go at a companion once because... he had on my mission. He had a cushion that the young women made him, and it was just a little cushion, but he'd kneel on it to pray. And I was that righteous that I threw it out the window. I said, "We don't have Ramiumptums in this house," you know, like he's an angry housewife. But yeah, he cried a little bit, I think. But,
I never got a cushion to pray on.
No.
Is this the thing?
I got told that we prayed to Joseph Smith facing him, and we prostrated ourselves to a picture of Joseph Smith on the wall. That happened.
Really long.
Okay. Now, another popular one. Elder Holland has made himself loads of friends, and I saw this today. I thought it was fantastic. You know, with the BYU Puma and different things.
That's excellent.
Well, I thought that was amazing.
They lit up the Y again this week, apparently. So there's been a response to
the conference
having muskets fired at people.
There we are. Yeah,
there it was last night.
The rainbow Y is back. That's
and
awesome.
I thought,
beautiful.
Can they shoehorn something into the general conference talks, which have already been correlated and approved? And on that note.
Well, they did it last time. Yeah, they did it in the conference just after the pandemic started. Because Russell M. Nelson shoehorned in, little did I know.
I think we all knew
Everyone
that.
Everyone ignored that because they've all been telling us that he knew all along.
This was nothing to do with conference, but...
everything to do with the removal of Moroni from the temples. And that is why. That's why he's been removed, because he's been doing naughty stuff on top of there.
That's absolutely why.
So he's out of a job. He dropped his trumpet, and he's been doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So he's out.
So, we got some fans of you guys.
Thank you, Wendy.
Wendy, I absolutely love Nemo and Peter. So glad I found you as well. Thank you, Wendy. No, it's good. And before we carry on, we're only 10 minutes in, and I know there's already been some swear words and some vulgarity, but I must assure you it will continue. If you can all at this point in Mormon stories style, please go to your Facebook feeds and share this with all of your TBM family. Be much appreciated. So
Let's
moving on,
all their worst fears about the apostate. I just saw this today. That is amazing, isn't it?
Porn shoulders.
Porn shoulders.
Oh no!
Yeah, in a BYU sponsored tweet.
So they've gone for like the tokenism of making sure it's a black girl, but then they've decided to be really edgy and give her porn shoulders.
I wasn't going to go there, Nemo, but yes, absolutely.
I will go there. Because let's be honest, it's a university named after one of the most racist prophets of the church.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Guys,
great.
We've got a fantastic one. We were speaking earlier about people getting dressed up to watch conference. Doug Vincent has put on a white shirt to watch us.
That's awesome, Doug. That's
awesome, Doug.
That is next level, Doug. I have a nice pink tie that would go with that. Yeah, drop me your deets and I'll send it. So back to soaking. Now I heard about this years ago because there's the soak, then there's the other hole, then there's the armpit.
Yes,
all these ingenious ways that Mormon scouts have found to have sex with their girlfriends.
It's like he's an omnipotent god. At what point is anyone thinking, "Oh, he's there"? Like, darn it,
we've tricked him.
You got me.
He should have known.
I've only heard of 2 of these. I didn't know there's a whole lot. Like, do you get badges for them? Like learning the different knots, like Mormon Eagle Scouts.
If you get enough Eagle Scouts together and you give them the problem of how do I have sex with my girlfriend without breaking the law of chastity, this is what happens.
They'll come up with some stuff.
Technicalities.
Got to respect the creativity.
Yeah.
Here's a couple that I saw today.
Oh, no.
And then even better.
Nice.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry. Okay. We've got a little bingo here, but we're going to come back to that.
Yeah.
So here's one. I saw it on Reddit 20 minutes ago. So what are they going to call us this time?
Covenant quitters, sad secularists, Latter-day Aints, wayward wanderers. Latter-day Aints.
Latter-day Aints is quite good. Covenant quitters. Covenant quitters is like, quite possible. I can see it.
I'll put a tenner in tribute to my friend Tina. Scum-sucking whores of Jalunda.
Oh boy.
If they say that, I will give you both a tenner each.
I'd pay Jeffrey R. Holland to say those words just out of context. Like, do you reckon he has a Fiverr account? You know that thing where you can pay celebrities money and they'll like record a video for you? What's that called? Like for your mate's birthday and stuff. I wonder if the apostles are on there. Could I get them to like record Revelation and then just put it out as though it's a church video?
And you know what? To be meta, isn't that what General Conference is really?
Ooh.
People being
Deep,
paid
man. Deep.
to say stuff they don't really believe.
Well, we have. So I screenshotted the rest of the thread. Not.
Oh yes, go for
it. But the options were. There's a few of them there.
I've got Doug's quote in my beard. Can you get it out, please?
Oh,
choking here.
Yeah, Doug's been there a long time.
Thanks, Dougie.
Yeah.
Covenant quitters.
Damn it, I don't know how to get rid of him. Let's just swap you with
he's a
Nemo.
permanent feature. Oh, that's all right.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Doug.
that's fair.
That's all right.
So
Pete Beard, get him in line.
Tonight it's Priesthood Dispatches, PeterBleakley and Nemo, and Doug Vincent.
Doug!
Congratulations, Doug. You're
Woo!
in the gang.
You should totally have
So
him on.
yes, the other options were Covenant Quitters, Sad Secularists, Latter-day Aints, Wayward Wanderers, Angry Apostates, or Celestial Dropouts. Now all I can hear is from Greece when she's singing "Beauty School Dropout." It's that sort of celestial. I don't know. There's the guy on the motorbike who's supposed to be dead and different things.
If it's really got the gravitas that it's meant to have in these people's minds, at what point could you ever describe it as dropping out? It's not school. It's like, what am I? The Steve Jobs of Mormonism. It's like, I dropped out of the church and look how successful I am now. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Well, I got kicked out, and I had a membership withdrawal when I was exed recently. So they're totally getting into just treating the church like a golf club that you can sort of join and leave. And
was it withdrawal like you shook for a while and got goose pimpled skin and sweat?
Yeah, I was cold turkeyed, man. It was tough.
that must be really hard. But
I desperately missed my home teaching list. It was separation anxiety from callings.
There you go. They just don't give me callings anymore. I've been blacklisted.
So what else? So Marie Osmond.
What's with Marie?
There's been a quote going around about you only fall out of Mormonism because you weren't far enough in.
Like that kid in the bed from Joy D. Jones's talk?
Yeah. Well, that kind of comes back to soaking.
I fell out of bed. Oh dear, James.
I'm sorry.
PD. Oh, gee.
But there was some comments from ex-bishops on there and different things. And you're like, how far in did I have to go? You know,
it's the eternal question.
In centimeters, please. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Dear.
Oh, look, I found the button. Sorry,
Doug.
You will come back later. So here was another good one. They should put this outside the conference center. It's outside a chapel somewhere, and someone clever has written, "For children's safety, do not enter."
Yeah,
smart. Put it outside Bishop's office.
Very true. This one here reminded me of you two. I know that over the coming weekend, you will be doing kind of a conference catch up, and you'll be listening so that we don't have to. And I imagine you two there going in for a 20-minute adventure and spending your whole weekend looking just terribly
crying. Alternate horror and boredom. It's horror, boredom, horror, boredom, horror. Lies, boredom.
So one of you sent this, and I couldn't believe this. I'd not seen this. And a quote from Jeffrey O'Holland: "My brethren, I have made the case for the metaphor of musket fire, which I have endorsed yet again today."
Yeah.
What an utter twat.
That was from his speech to the BYU faculty, wasn't it?
Was that after his initial?
No, that was the musket fire quote, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, he was quoting. I think it was Dallin Oaks talking about pointing more musket fire at the enemies of the church.
Yeah.
And that was one of the quotes from it.
Yeah, PD. This is what kicked it all off.
Okay, well that's why I've not seen it then.
So the issue is which way is it going to go? Because here is the October Liahona. We have understanding and including our LGBTQ brothers and sisters in the Liahona.
Wow.
As in create a welcoming atmosphere, listen to these people's concerns, be empathetic to them. And it's literally the opposite of everything that Jeff has told the BYU faculty to do.
If I'm
He's saying,
apostate, that
apostate.
magazine is apostate.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, it's going to be interesting. Which way will conference go?
Yeah.
What's the line on this? So it'd be really interesting if they even mention LGBTQ people. We'll see. But they're just literally teaching the exact opposite stuff in every possible way. They cut, you know, contradictions as usual.
And on a serious note,
see which way they jump in conference.
On a serious note, the BYU police force are hunting a fugitive who was spotted lighting the Y last night in rainbow colours. There was one image that they managed to get of him, and it's here. If anyone knows this gentleman,
you missed a trick there, PD. You missed a trick there. You should have had the guy from the Capitol Hill riots.
Oh yes,
yeah.
There's a great
because the FBI did hunt him down and find him.
Yeah.
Oh no, fantastic.
There's a great meme that has this picture or a picture of Captain Moroni.
Yeah.
How it started, and then a photo of the Capitol Hill sort of Ewok of hatred, and it had how it's going, how it's going now.
But what is it with like all like every priesthood holder in the Book of Mormon was on roids?
Oh, big time.
Well, no, because Nephi wrote, I, Nephi, being exceedingly hench, essentially.
Yes.
He just talked about how massive he was.
There's muscles there that don't actually exist in the human body. So, yeah.
I mean, he could be rocking a dad bod under there. They've just chiseled it into his breastplate.
I was going to say, yeah, if I put a breastplate like that on and actually managed to, it'd be like jelly in a mold.
It all just filled the spaces.
If I kept it on long enough, it might stay. Put me in the fridge. Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. For anyone...
this is going to be the other issue, you know, there's the whole mask civil war. So again, what they won't just say the prophet said, "Will you please not line up to die of COVID? Maybe you should wear a mask and get a vax."
Yeah.
But there'll be euphemisms. So that's something to look out for.
Because it's already, pardon my French, it's already a Russell M. Nelson circle jerk at the best of times when it comes to quoting him. So what they're going to do is they're just going to come back to quoting him even harder, saying, "Our beloved prophet advised us all to get vaccinated," or whatever, you know, has advised us all on serious matters. It will be interesting to see which of the church leaders wear masks and which ones don't. And a telling thing in that is which ones have fabric masks and which ones are just wearing the disposable ones.
Terror
trips is back. So
pardon?
Fantastic. Cue up the Desnet terror troops to rip off the masks.
There you go. If they're good for one thing, that might be it.
Yeah, just line them up.
So Nemo, you're the medic. You're in the medical profession.
I am.
So how would you interpret between sort of fabric or medical?
I mean, I have to be very careful what I say here online because of my job. As long as you're wearing a face covering, that's preferable to not. That's really all I can weigh in on online.
Right. What Nemo means is that if you're just wearing a fabric mask, you're an absolute joke and you're just pretending. Anyway, next one, please.
Awesome.
Next, please.
But first, on that note, in preparation for this echo chamber that we're now sat in, and by the way, I know we've had this discussion already, but when the brethren stand and say, don't go on internet sites or listen to podcasts where it's just an echo chamber, and the conference center itself is the biggest echo chamber in the world.
Holds 22,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, the irony of that is just dripping.
Incredible.
But what I was going to go to was the World Report that they'll be showing in between all the sessions. So in preparation, I thought I'll have a look at the World Report. And I lasted maybe 2 minutes before I started skipping through what a lot of people will do with this episode. And the first thing they go with is vaccines.
Nice.
They gave 20 million to COVAX in order to send vaccines all over the world, because $20 million is going to give every poor person a vaccine and make sure that world hunger's sorted out, and and all that jazz.
Lord. Compared to $400 billion. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear.
Orwell, what a legend.
That's man what we're doing now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the man who wrote books, effectively steel manning, or rather making his own worldview the bad guy in his books. That is incredible. Making socialism the bad guy when he is himself a proponent of that. Quite remarkable.
Restored Church of Jesus Christ theology. Oh yes, two male celestial beings can create human life together with no women involved. See the creation of Adam and Eve in the temple.
Right, that's my argument moving forward.
Well, it's a very strong one, because there's no, there's no heavenly mother or woman involved at all in the deities in the temple. And this is something that Mormonism Live with Bill Reel and RFM kind of did an episode recently about what could be 4 different theological bases for getting inclusive about same-sex marriage, and this is powerful stuff. The big hole in Mormon theology is where does Heavenly Mother fit in a Godhead? Because we have this whole theology in one box about Godheads, and it's Father, Son, and Male Holy Spirit, and they kick Fiona Givens out of the Maxwell Institute or BYU or whatever because she speculates that maybe the Holy Spirit might be Heavenly Mother. And yet, on the other hand, it's all about we have to hold the line against gay marriage because we know you can't be a god without a woman. But they've never put those two
never demonstrated it
concepts of what God is, the God's head and the eternal married couple. There's been no attempt anywhere whatsoever that I've seen to ever put those two worlds together. And Joseph Smith was adamant. The way damn it!
There's way too much doctrine right there.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thanks. It's like getting sucked into TikTok. You need to be dragged out by another person.
I need to be able to cut you down into 60-second chunks. So, yes, but very true. 2 men made a man and a woman physically.
So when they say Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, I'm like, well, it was Jesus and Elohim, so shut up.
Jehovah and Michael.
Jehovah and Michael getting it on.
That's right. Ooh, this is always a good one.
My favorite every time. Every 6 months, I just whip this bad boy out.
I don't know that it's possible to distinguish between policy and doctrine in a church that believes in continuing revelation and sustains its leader as a prophet. Dallin H. Oaks, a long time ago. But
channeling Ezra Taft Benson, fundamentals of the prophet. That anything fundamentals can be doctrine. You don't have to. They don't. Whereas Joseph Fielding Smith and co. was saying, like, it's only if they say, "Thus saith the Lord." So they used to make the distinction, but the hard right nutters have said, no.
It's all Benson's fault.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to discuss that. But for anyone on the podcast, it's pretty straightforward. It says, if you're not even willing to entertain the possibility that you have been fooled, then you are the easiest kind of person to fool. Very true.
I think I was thinking this week something along those lines. Just like, if the prophet's lying to you, would you want to know? Just ask TBMs that. If the prophet is lying to you, would you want to know?
Yeah, but their answer is, but he wouldn't. And I know it doesn't answer the question, but that is their retort. They're like, oh, but he wouldn't.
Yeah.
If there are any TBMs watching this right now live, okay, which you shouldn't be because this is
Please
R-rated.
answer the question.
Let's have in the comments, if the prophet was lying to you, would you want to know yes or no? And if you say no, call a doctor.
Yeah.
You should want to know. Here's an oldie but a goodie. Make Adam God again.
I want one of those hats now.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Oh, okay. We're going to come back to that one in a moment.
So David O. McKay saying every member a missionary, and Gordon B. Hinckley, every member a janitor.
Did Gordon actually say that, or just physically make that happen?
That
He
was
just made it happen.
Yeah. It's
That's not a quote.
So this is something to look out for then in this conference, is what more jobs are they going to give the members to do? And so far it's been mostly women. All the rhetoric around home church has been pointed at women doing this stuff. It's been a long time since there's been anything about men's roles as patriarchs or fathers in the home.
And home church is so middle class American as an idea. It's so you've got to have a family for home church to really work. What about the single bloke?
Yeah,
home church doesn't work for them. Yeah, the convert who lives in a house full of heathens, right? At university, home church doesn't work for them. We've missed out. Sorry. Just rant for a moment. We are losing in the church our spaces where people actually get together and make community. It's just being sucked out of us, and I hate it, because if it offered one thing to the world, it was perhaps quite a strong community, and it's just been destroyed by Russell M. Nelson, frankly.
He's saying fire to everything.
Sorry, rant over.
Eliza Finnegan Hill, for podcast listeners, says, I've asked a TBM that directly and they completely refused to answer.
Classic.
Not surprised.
And Doug.
Yes.
Doug's back. Woo. I'm a single bloke. Doug, there's LDS singles. You might find someone there to home church with. If you know what I mean. You know what? That's something. It's not Netflix and chill anymore. It's like home church and kneel, as in to pray, but also something else.
PD.
That's a guy.
It's the cold medication.
Is it?
Moving on. Okay, this Mormon ad here, I thought this is quite good. It's the one of a gentleman dressed all in black from the 80s by his haircut, and he's got white string rope around his mouth, and it says, "Big lies can start with a little yarn." And how many yarns are we going to hear this weekend?
I wonder whether Russell M. Nelson is going to directly address the fact that we all know now, thanks in part to myself and then Nails in the Coffin by Bill Reel and RFM, that he lied and has lied publicly. I wonder whether that's going to get addressed. I wonder whether they're going to give some talk where they say, oh, well, we teach in parables. We don't actually teach the truth. We teach truths, as me and Jonathan Streeter have talked about. Are they going to sidestep into this world of, well, just like Christ, we also teach in parables? If anyone says that, just like Christ, modern day prophets also teach in parables, I'm calling that as a direct reference to the fact that he lied to the members.
Called out and plummeting to the earth in an aeroplane-y fireball.
Yes.
No,
and they made a film of it. I was so chuffed to find that for my podcast. It's like they actually got him on an airplane and filmed the thing.
Yeah. And it's all full of like emotional music and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, I thought I was going to die. Did you? Really?
Yeah.
Well, then you're a bit of a muppet because there was no real danger.
Okay, we've got here a bit of a video of a yarn. Now, I thought Holland has had some pretty bad press lately.
I've just done a video on all the lies he's told.
I know, awesome.
There we go.
This one's mildly funny.
Right.
But yeah, someone put it up. Pro Nuke on Reddit.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is his hope for the upcoming.
Like thieves in the night, unwelcome thoughts can and do seek entrance to our minds. But we do not have to throw open the door, serve them tea and crumpets, and then tell them where the silver is.
Hey.
You shouldn't be serving tea anyway.
You shouldn't be serving tea. I thought that was amazing because he gave us to us tea and crumpets.
Unwelcome thoughts are English.
There we go. Unwelcome thoughts are colonial Brits trying to take their country back.
This is xenophobia. I'm offended.
It's something. So I go back into my downloads folder. Right, here we go. This one's special.
Anyway.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on, guy. Get over here. Sorry, everyone. This is really unprofessional. But here we go. Happy conference weekend. Changing the goalposts.
Very good.
So, for anyone listening, this is a picture of Russell M. Nelson pushing some American football goalposts away from a ball clearly not about to be caught by anyone. So I think the message there from the Rehabilitating is a good one, and I will predict that will happen this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whether it's about saying that they only teach in parables, that would be an example of moving the goalposts. Whether it's saying, but it's changing something in regards to their stance on LGBT members, shifting goalposts again in that way, where it comes to women. You know, they shifted the goalposts twice when it came to changing the sessions of conference, didn't they? They got rid of a session and then brought it back. And in doing so, they just subtly twisted what that session would then before. They basically just got rid of a female-only space under the guise of getting rid of the male-only space as well, which every other session of conference is anyway.
So is October normally the lady one or the boy one?
Lady one, because the priesthood was restored in April, and that's how I remember.
So in the blurb after they U-turned, getting rid of the Saturday evening session and brought it back, they were talking about giving more space for more varied voices. So last conference, there were 3 women. So if this is normally the lady one, 2, was it?
Yeah, it was only 2.
Really?
Mm-hmm. One woman may have prayed, but there was only 2 female speakers. It was Joy D. Jones and that lady from Latin America.
Yeah.
Her name is.
Gosh.
So
Joy was a complete nutter, and they fired her the next day, which was brilliant. Because she, speaking as a teacher, I did not appreciate her. I mean, if you haven't listened to Joy D. Jones' talk from last conference,
I've done a video.
It is properly Desnat.
She was like, you can teach your children.
Mad.
She was like, you teach your children they are free to choose eternal life or everlasting death.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
so she went full evangelical born again about how the children are racked with original sin. And then she told parents to use family home evening to role play facing their hostile environment at school, how to argue with their teachers if they say anything that's against gospel values, and listing teachers alongside drug pushers and pornographers. And I'm like, what has happened to Mormonism?
The woman is insane. So
absolutely barking mad.
Conference bingo. I'm calling it something that needs to be in conference bingo is just something incredibly Desnat from just one of the leaders.
Yeah. I think
the culture war right wing nutters.
This one's gone around a few times.
Z Kyle, something like that.
Yeah. This one's gone around a few times today. And I think the problem is, first of all, we're all going to sit down with the same bingo card.
Yeah.
So as things come up, we're all going to shout bingo together across the world. And I think genuinely...
Well, you don't shout bingo, you shout I oppose when you get it, right?
Okay, yeah. Really loud.
Yeah, really
loud. We'll come to that. But I think every single one of these could be ticked off, apart from possibly sacred, not secret.
They've been less on that recently.
Yeah,
dry lip smacking will be present. New revelation, right? That one. It depends what you call revelation. In much the same way as miracles, they've now kind of made revelation so mundane that really it is just policy change. That's all revelation is now in the church. There's nothing special or spectacular. Unless we get changes to the fundamental marriage principles within the church. That I would call revelation. Anything short of that sort of thing, or women getting the priesthood or whatever, then we're just not going to see it, I don't think.
Emotion on cue. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, iRing will provide that, like clockwork.
Yeah, iRing is iRing tears on the list. I guess it's too predictable. There's not even any fun with that.
From Doug again, our fourth panelist on the show tonight. Doug, let me send you a link. Let's just get you on. If you've got a webcam, put your email address. Email waroffice@priesthooddispatches.com, and we'll send you a link and see if we can get your face.
I'm totally up for that.
Doug is awesome. I love him.
Hello. It will take 2 seconds.
It's amazing.
But yeah, emotion on cue. And you can see them lining up for it, can't you? It's like a footballer lining up for a shot.
Yeah.
And you can see them starting to build. And then all of a sudden, iRing, he kind of breaks. He's like, how do you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that was scripted.
Yeah. And he spends most of the time practicing it in the mirror, looking at it. She's going, is this too much, darling? Is this too much? It's like she comes over, straightens its tie. No, honey, it's just enough.
It's never too much.
I had a conversation with my parent, or my dad parent. I'm just checking my email, Doug. Nothing yet.
Give him the address again.
It's waroffice, WAROFFICE at priesthooddispatches.com. Almost forgot the name of my own show.
I keep doing that.
and anyone else who fancies a little, if you want to come on and actually ask a question,
that's good.
Face to face, then you're more than welcome. The more the merrier. So yeah, bingo. I think there'll be. We used to play this as missionaries as well. Maybe not quite as sacrilegious as this might be, but yeah, we used to.
Oh, close quote's not on there. Close quote.
Oh, close quotes. Yes.
Close quote.
We need a new Tender Mercy. Tender Mercy is a bit old now. There's got to be a new ridiculous jargon word.
Covenant path.
Old. It's been done. So that's what I'll be looking out for. Is the next catchphrase.
Yeah.
We haven't had one for a bit.
Oh well, because they've had the "Hear Him," "How I Hear Him" social media campaign going around, so that might become a bit of a buzz phrase.
Okay.
Like when we hear him, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Take the tie. Okay, so get that right. Get the fat guy right in the middle of the screen. So
it's be a sandwich between me and Peter.
Okay.
The filling in an apostate sandwich. There you go.
Baby.
Perfect.
Sorry. Far too excited. So there was. Damn it! I went too early. I shot my load too early. Let's go back.
It's when that happens.
There's the show plan. Don't want to give it all away straight away. You know what though? For everyone out there, that's how organized this is. There is a show plan and a running.
We got
order.
this email, and it's down. It's like, I mean, he's ruining it already. He said like, I'd like to keep it to an hour. We haven't even finished with item 1, so it's a fantasy, but it looks really well planned.
Yeah,
I was seriously impressed by that.
And we've only had to use the bell once. It's not even Pete.
Awesome. Right. Sorry. Correlation committee. Pete said this one today. We are on for an anniversary, I hear, Pete.
Indeed.
Here we go.
Well, that was me, I think.
Oh, was it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed it.
Happy 60th. It is 60th birthday of the Correlation Committee. So
Anyone
60 years today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harold B. Lee.
I think I like to say I was correlated out of the church because I feel it's the correlation committee that are constantly changing things and moving things around so that you can't find them next time.
They're the ones shifting the goalposts for what truth is.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
My stake, Relief Society President Mum was way woke before I even began to understand what that would involve. And she has just had a visceral hatred of correlation because they took away the Relief Society's independence. And I think that happened long before 1961. And I've ramped it up a level and called it the church's female genital mutilation, that they just took away all the woman power. And, that's what they've done.
There's a reason you got excommunicated.
Yeah, you went there. You really
I
did.
also called them lying bastards, but apart from that, yeah.
Is that what you had on the t-shirt when you went in?
No, just the hat. I wasn't allowed the full costume. Lynn wouldn't let me. So I just got to have a henpecked.
In the blogosphere, there have been some changes that Peter pointed out with the temple. Peter, take it away.
Right, so this is it seems to be a COVID measure that there've been lots of, so just to think about the changes that I think Nelson has made to the temple. So there's much less standing up, sit down. It's all to make it easier for elderly people not to fall asleep during, basically, although some of it makes it more boring. And they've took away the films. When the director of these amazing, gorgeous, wonderful temple films, I only got to see 2 of them. I didn't even get to number 3. Turned out to be a child abuser and so on. So they yanked the films.
Number 3 was also good.
And they've replaced it all by death by PowerPoint. So I haven't seen this. This is the point at which I was not getting a temple reckoned anymore because I wasn't going to pay any more tithing money to Amazon.
I'm sorry. Wait. Are you saying that they no longer show like Hot
There's
Eve?
no film?
Hot Eve is only shown in still images.
So there's no more like carefully placed plastic flowers or bushes or a goat, like to hold a goat and stroke the goat just in front of the boobage. There's no point anymore.
I know I've left the church, but
might have been a lamb.
I'm shook.
It wasn't a pig. And so it's apparently now just stills from the films, the audio. So like literally death by PowerPoint. They've taken this immersive theatre experience that's the wackiest and wonderfulest thing about Mormonism, and they've made it like a managerial planning meeting.
I mean, let's be honest. Most of the patrons struggled to stay awake while there was a video on. So this is not helping matters. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
so. So the new change is that they know you no longer receive the tokens. No one comes and shakes your hand and does stuff on your hands. You still do at the veil, but what they do now is they just put see that it's in the wrist, isn't it? You've been a temple worker.
It's so easy. In the wrist. Yeah, they have to do that.
Yeah. It's in the wrist. It's professional.
You get training on it.
Yeah, and so now what they do is they show a slide on the screen of what the token looks like. There you go.
That's
fish.
the way.
Sharky.
You just go across the room with the.
Now, it might not seem that significant, but the deeper intellectuals are having massive conversations on the Bloggernacle now about what that represents, that you don't actually have to be physically present in an ordinance. That it's okay to just kind of think.
At what point then do we have a Zoom
afar.
temple? At what point are we then just doing it at home?
Might as well just do it online. And why didn't they let people do that for the sacrament during COVID?
But
this is niche nerdism here. This is Mormon nerds, like deep level.
Here's what I'm seeing. Do you remember there was a news report at the beginning of COVID about a school teacher? What she did in her like front door, she put a plastic sheet with arms, so that all of her children could come and give her a cuddle. Okay? I'm seeing a white one of those with the holes in it in someone's front room, and they just kind of it's like a pop-up veil, like them pop-up tents. It just goes whoop.
You can have like robot arms that are remote controlled.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen those things they have at like conventions, right? Where it's like a sign, and it's just got that little A-frame behind it. Just one of them.
Yeah, and that would save so much more money, and they could have so many more billions.
Home-centered temple.
Hey,
oh my God, you called
Home-centered
Peter's
temple.
a prophet.
You heard it here first.
Temple.
Home-centered temple. Yeah, man.
Absolutely,
we could totally do that.
Nemo.
Yes. There you go. Maybe we will get a new social media hashtag give thanks, but maybe not, as the 15 found it very difficult to post anything. That was Lance Abson. So thank you very much for that. It's a good point. Yeah. If you look at someone tallied it up, I can't remember off the top of my head, but someone tallied it up how many posts they'd actually made in the campaign, and it was pretty poor showing from a lot of them.
Oh, it's terrible. Two of them did nothing. So Uchtdorf and Gong, the two woke ones, nada, no posts giving thanks. And I think it was Razband did the best with 4 or something like that.
It's a shame because Nelson invoked the death of his wife and his 2 daughters.
I know.
In emotional manipulation to try and get people to take part in this. So the least the rest of his homies could do is get stuck in, you know?
It was astonishing. Like they don't even do their own social media. Like their minions they hired to do the social media didn't even cough up some copy. This just speaks to the fundamental broken incompetence of their bureaucratic machine.
Do we have Doug Vincent around yet? Is he ready?
Come on, Dougie, call in, dude. He's in Tennessee. I've given away his location, so he's about eight hours behind us. He might be at work.
Oh, Doug, sorry. But also, thanks for being so active on the messages. Sarah Elizabeth also wants to say hello.
Home Sacrament might have led to some women touching sacrament emblems and getting ideas of grandeur.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Like,
we can't have that
because it's with all the things like, oh, little Timmy the priest has masturbated that week, so he can't do it. Mum, you just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Why not?
Doug,
but we talked about it at Sunstone, didn't we? We talked about there was a sister at Sunstone who had been forced to give the sacrament tray she was using for a lesson to a deacon so he could take it back to the kitchen because she shouldn't have been carrying it. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Doug's at work. Okay.
Has in fact confirmed he's at work. So, Doug, maybe next time we'll try and line it up so that the times work better.
We'll try and get you in on the conference halftime show. How about that?
There you go.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, let's see if we can make that happen.
So, something else you mentioned, Peter, during the week was something about the cross.
Yeah, so the church has all these proxies doing their dirty work for them. So you have FAIR, found out what are they even calling themselves now? They're back to a rejigging of, it was FAIR Mormon, then FAIR LDS, or the other way around. And yeah, I think they actually changed to FAIR Mormon, didn't they? When Mormon became the brand, they changed to FAIR Mormon. Yeah. Anyway, now it's FAIR. Foundation for Apologetic Information and Research, but they've changed them anyway.
And now it stands for Fair Answers, Informed Response.
Yeah,
stupid like that.
There you go. So they faithful answers,
rather.
I think. Yeah. Anyway, them. You've got the Desnat extra wing of Midnight Mormons and the 3 Amigos with no common sense, whatever they were called, and so on. And and the other is these online things. So you have Meridian magazine, which I used to love because it's like there's an online magazine for Mormon things, and it's not the End Zone. And they have another one called LDS Living. So LDS Living often has quite good. They had LDS Living a while ago did an amazing article about how we could venerate Heavenly Mother that was super woke. And I was like, this isn't going to last a day. So I screenshot the whole thing, and of course it didn't last a day. But it created a bit of a stir. But so they often float things to kind of test the waters of the Mormon community and see what the response is. And I think that then definitely gets sort of observed. So this week they've done an article about rehabilitating the cross. So we've grown up in a Mormonism that has been absolutely allergic to the crucifix. You know, it's the symbol of Christ's death. We celebrate Christ resurrected. Mormons do not do crosses. But there's this article just saying, well, maybe we should have more respect for the symbolism of the cross and be okay with it. So if there is this master plan, so the cynics say that the general authority's master plan is tiny step by tiny step to make us into generic Christians, to be less weird, because they don't, I would say, because they have no knowledge of their own history. They do not understand their own doctrines. They don't know that the dragon's hoard of meaty doctrine that Mormonism is sitting on. They're just embarrassed. They don't understand it. Well, they clearly don't understand it when they teach. They don't even understand Jesus's parables. So how are they going to understand Mormonism? And they're doing all these things to de-weird the temple.
Mm-hmm.
They've ended the live endowment now after promising they wouldn't. They've tweaked the endowment after we were all brought up with the idea that the endowment is word for word what was given to Adam and cannot ever be changed.
They're shifting away from the idea of becoming gods.
Shifting away, downplaying the idea of the Mormon idea of becoming like God and having your own planet. And they've released official statements downplaying that. So if that's the case, what you have to rehabilitate the cross. And this is so ironic because we grew up, I had a tinkle, where we were criticizing the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ for becoming generic Christians and wanting to fit in with the other Christian churches. And this is literally what they're doing now. And they built a huge temple just so they could have a meeting with the Pope in Italy. So, yeah.
In a word, it's myopic. Thank you very much, Wendy.
Yes, Wendy Ellsworth, hashtag myopic.
Yeah. So they're taking the Moronites off. Can you imagine Mormon temples with a crucifix on?
Oh, no way.
Spin.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even really care anymore, and I care.
Yeah.
It
was our thing. It was our thing. We're not like the great and abominable church. We don't worship the death of Christ.
Yeah.
That was our thing.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, that's just the thing. That's an idea. They're testing the waters. If you get an LDS Living article that's about something a bit out there, that's them just nudging the boundary and seeing how the people react. Yeah. Deep.
That's where Rusty's going, isn't it? Doug mentioned that he heard there is a cross on the door of the Rome, Italy temple.
Fact checking coming.
Nemo, Doug.
You guys carry on.
We're just going to watch you. We get to see him out. Look, is there a furrow in his brow? Not at all. Look at that. His brow does not furrow. Priesthood dispatches. It's smooth as a baby's bottom.
Ozzy Johnson says some chapels
in a
have
state of
stained
zen-like calm. Yeah.
Cheltenham is one.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that, and that's really weird.
Yeah.
And some have pipe organs.
The old American tabernacles have got amazing stained glass, but since another destruction by Nelson is since his fatwa on any art but generic racist Jesuses on his list, some of them have actually been removing their stained glass windows and art, apparently, which is, well, he just destroyed the entire Salt Lake Temple. So what does he care about art or history?
Well,
it's true. They talk about the beloved work of our pioneer ancestors, but actually they've just removed it all.
Yeah,
literally just after promising to preserve it. It's unbelievable.
Move the conversation.
So that'd be another prediction for conference, is to make up for that. Lots of praise of the pioneers to make up for the fact that they've just destroyed everything they went to Salt Lake to build.
Yeah.
All right,
We
next.
We just tore it all up. So we're going to get to a discussion point now. And I think as kind of a panel, we cover quite a range of ages. So Nemo, being the youngest here, his formative years, his teen years, were kind of the late noughties, early tens. So what we want to know from each of us is, what were the talking points at every conference? So I remember from my youth in like the 90s, it was always journal keeping, you were the chosen generation, don't look at porn.
Right, yeah. Pete's, yours was the Great Depression and no communism, right?
No, I was born in 71, so I actually remember the 70s, my gosh, and into the 80s, and it was, the main difference really was that they quoted scriptures. Now they don't quote scriptures anymore.
No.
They quote each other.
Why would you?
And it's a huge difference. It's
because
fascinating.
when they speak, it is scripture.
Yeah.
Until it's proven wrong, then it's just a man.
Yeah, about 5 minutes later. So that's a huge difference. It's just, you have meaty, big idea scriptorians talking at you, and they talk about their scripture study, and they talk about their long, I was on my knees for 2 hours this morning praying. The current crop never describe their own religiosity. They do not offer themselves as role models of scripture studying or prayer. And they don't quote scriptures. They're just lazy. They are lazy, ignorant people who don't even know their own religion, who are too busy bigging up the propaganda to even bother with depth anymore. Yeah, Ozzy Johnson's posted food preparation. Yeah, so food storage, absolutely. The end is nigh, so you need to have your 2 years food storage. Was a constant theme in the 70s. Self-sufficiency, grow your garden, plant a garden, family home evening. Oh, have you found the cross on the door?
You see the door?
Oh, yeah.
You see,
It's
there's a
kind of got a...
I'm not sure that's what the church had in mind, but you can see sort of there's a little cross there.
Yeah.
It's Jesus seeking it.
So that's the Rome temple, is it?
That's the Rome temple, yeah. Which, I mean, I think arguably the thing they did more to kowtow to the Catholics was having it effectively a hall of the apostles. By having all those marble statues, right? Quarried from the quarry of Leonardo da Vinci. The church can splash all the cash on that, but it won't stop malaria. Anyway, back on with what Peter was talking about.
Yeah, no, true. Well, yeah, blatantly. Just they it's extraordinary that having and growing up in a Mormonism that was militant about its opposition to the rest of Christianity. We were persecuted by them. We were quite happy to criticize them back. The Catholic Church was the great and abominable whore of Babylon, and anything Catholic was verboten, crucifixes, statues, and they're doing it all now.
Oh, because when did Mormon Doctrine come out?
Incredible. Actually 1950s, I think.
Okay, right. So that had time to kind of work its way into.
Yeah, it percolated. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's McConkie era Mormonism you were growing up in, essentially.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Every lesson had a quote from Mormon Doctrine in every lesson manual. Every lesson. Yeah. That was our religion. And when he wrote that, he was just a 70. And he hadn't cleared it with any of the apostles or prophets.
Wow.
So this was like a guerrilla act by the right-wing faction. I'm saying right-wing, but like fundamentalist, anti-science, anti-knowledge faction.
See, I didn't have any of that going on. I didn't have any of that going on when I was growing up. I had essentially, Hinckley and Monson were my prophets, right? And so you had Hinckley. One of the big things I remember was be the bees with Hinckley. Be humble, be kind, be this, right? Those were nice. That was a nice Christian message. I remember his book Stand a Little Taller was a key feature in our home. What else? To be honest, there was a lot.
Hinckley, she was great.
Yeah, there was a lot about Mormon being a Mormon. The word Mormon was really becoming our brand at the time I was growing up.
Yeah.
Like it was like actual like search engine optimization and stuff like that was starting to come in. And then Russell Nelson came in and just crapped all over that. But you know, so we had that going on. The talk that sticks in my mind is Thomas S. Monson, Dare to be a Mormon, Dare to Stand Alone. You know, President Monson wiggled his ears. That's what I remember as a kid. He could wiggle his ears. You know, very important thing for a prophet to have to do. Generally, there was a lot of very Christian Mormonism going on when I was growing up through conference. There was a lot of kind of very kind, nicey, playing well with others sort of things. Yeah, and
that's because Hinckley and Monson were PR guys. So Monson was manager of or editor or whatever of the Deseret News for donkey's years, so he's used to dealing with the media. President Hinckley's major career role was as PR spokesperson for the church. So they understood branding, they understood the world. And all this bollocks about Nelson thinking he's created year zero and rebooted the Reformation. They changed the logo of the church. Ezra Taft bloody Benson changed the logo of the church to make the name of Jesus Christ bigger. They already did that, like when I was a kid. And Nelson, like, claiming that we need a new logo to emphasize Christ, in which they actually made the name of Jesus Christ so small you can't even read it, and then put some Catholic-looking statue of the god Zeus it's
oval. A Danish statue of Christ. I'll have you know, we stole it off the Danes. It's in the Cathedral of St. Mary in Copenhagen.
Jesus.
It's Zeus.
But all the right, shut up, you. I'm an art teacher. I know what I'm talking about. All the iconography of that image of Christ is Greek. It's pagan Greek. It's Zeus. And and to present that as somehow saving Christ, you know, and again, anyway, sorry, I go into on about the art stuff.
No, it's fine. We love it. We appreciate you. We treasure you, and
thank you.
We'll
I'm
move
feeling
on
warm
from
fuzzies now.
We'll move on from
So Ozzy said that he recalls a lot of inappropriate music. I think that was a big thing when rock and roll was young.
And the occult. I mean, maybe not so much in general conference, but certainly the messaging constantly to young people was stay away from the Ouija boards, don't play the cards because they're like tarot cards, you'll invite Satan into the house. There was intense paranoia, which they just borrowed, we now know, lock, stock and barrel from the evangelicals they were trying to imitate. And then the nanosecond it turned out that Joseph Smith was into the occult, like in a massive way, and a whole religion came from occult practices with seer stones and crystal balls.
Yeah, the Jupiter talisman on him when he died.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as that kind of they accepted that as real, there has been not a word anywhere in anything any general authority has said since, with reference to the occult or Satanism or dabbling in the dark side whatsoever, anywhere that I can recall.
As well as Doug,
as
well as Doug being popular in the chat at the moment, Wendy Ellsworth is absolutely
killing the chat.
Keyboard warrior. So we're going to show this one because this has been building up over the last 5 or 10 minutes as we've been speaking about Christianity, and Wendy has been peppering the chat about the Christians, but I think this one kind of puts it all together. Wendy Ellsworth. Also, if you're going to claim to be Christian now, you have to have thousands of missionaries stop teaching the first vision, where God told Joseph Smith that other churches were an abomination to God.
Yeah, kind of got it. Yeah,
you know, and I think one of her previous comments, if I'm paraphrasing, was basically, "You can't piss all over Christianity and then just dust it off and say, oh, we like you now."
Yeah.
So yeah,
but they're trying to play pally with Christianity because they know they're disappearing. essentially.
But
I think
I don't see what advantage they can get from it. I mean, people are abandoning Christianity, so
yeah, but
I
broader
think this
appeal.
is the new thing. Yeah, their strategy has just blown up because if you look at the data, it's in the last 10 years that people have started abandoning mainstream Christianity in America, but they started earlier on the high demand fundamentalist religions that were hiding stuff from people when the internet came out. So the crash happened for Scientology and Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons in the early 90s. But if anything, other Christians in America increased slightly their attendance at church. But there is now this sort of moment of the young abandoning it. And you could argue that's partly because of their sucking up to the Tea Party and the Republican Party, and over associating themselves with Trump and stuff, and they've kind of tainted their brand. It's fascinating, but
I kind of thought that with a lot of people leaving the church, they need to bolster their numbers, and if they bring themselves closer to mainland or mainstream Christianity, it's not as big a step for people to go from Christianity to Mormonism, because we've stopped doing some of the crazier things. I mean, it's still batshit, but you know, we've made it slightly more palatable in the case that, I don't know, like something really nasty could be palatable.
Yeah,
but they're not they're not realizing that the real thing that's alienating people is taking away the fun, which they're also doing, not having the joy, and having an intensely judgmental, exact obedience on the covenant path culture.
Yeah,
that's why
to say something a bit controversial,
Christians.
The people that want to stay in religion are the people that view life in a certain way, because all your very heavily logical people have, in a lot of ways, started to, because they view the world in that very kind of strict and rigid view. It's the artsy people, it's the people like Peter that make a massive hat with an A on it for their apostasy trial and like feathers on costumes and things. It's people with that more flamboyant nature that want to view the magic and the mystery of the world. They're going to be attracted to religion, I would think. And it's those people that Mormonism could attract if it just lent into the crazy. But by trying to pull away from the crazy, they're not making space for the people that want that, and also they're not making space for a lot of the other people as well. It's lose-lose.
You've almost got to like style it out.
Yeah, exactly. Lean into the skid. Steer into the skid.
Yeah,
right?
and then if it comes off,
amazing.
If it doesn't, well, you were always going to crash anyway.
Exactly.
Nothing to lose.
They have nothing to lose, because no matter what happens, they've got hundreds of billions of dollars. So
I don't know. I'm intrigued about that because people, as a financial investment fund, the church is invincible now. But but they won't get the ego. Mind you, they're getting used now to doing conference to empty conference halls. So maybe they've weaned themselves off needing to actually be popular and have people follow them. But there's
all become after dinner speakers.
Yeah.
Well, let's move this forward a bit. So we've spoken about conference past. Let's speak about conference future tomorrow, and let's have a look at what do we think the main kind of theme of feeling we're going to get through this conference is, and we've already had some of the possible hashtags, like my hashtag myopic, but they love a hashtag, and they love a challenge, like the classic one. You can still read the whole Book of Mormon before Christmas.
Yeah,
if you do this,
there's that. Yeah, the ridiculous. Pull it out of the hat, suddenly do something extra. So in the past, it's been stay off social media.
I'm calling it for that. They're going to keep people off
social media first.
Yeah.
So I think they're terrified. Like I get the fair news feed. So Scott Gordon, I think it was actually him. The first thing on their sort of weekly feed last week or the week before was, we should just not even go on social media. Like, anyone with questions or concerns should just go and find another human Mormon to talk to and deal with it. Don't even look at the internet. And it's just this moment of pure panic where they're just jumping off the cliff into wild abandon because they've absolutely lost the war online, and now the only solution they have is don't even think to engage with the internet for information. And to come from the leader of FAIR, which was all about, they came about because they were being realistic about the need to engage with modern criticism of the church because the general authorities weren't. So these grassroots members of the church stepped up to take on this job and to actually defend the church and so on, and engage in the discussion. And they've just lost so badly by trying to defend the indefensible and put too much in the truth cards, as Patrick Mason told them. I think he's fallen asleep. They just, this is it. This is, so I honestly think we're seeing now the end game of the uber conservative control freaks, who are the First Presidency and lots of others, reaching the limit of anything they can do, and it's still not working. And they are now going to do ridiculous, crazy stuff. So Fair Mormon is saying don't even go online, which is just abandoning the fields that they're meant to be the warriors in. And President Nelson has somehow got it into his head that it was okay to literally physically destroy the Salt Lake Temple after promising to reserve it. Like, the kind of nihilism, the kind of despair, panic that all of these things indicate, I think just they must be in meltdown by now.
Okay.
And so I'm really, we're going to see some wild, crazy stuff. I can see them. Oi! Thank you. Good boy. That was my teacher powers. Last point. But Oakes is also like so intensely in the same mode. So I think they're just going to hit nuclear buttons everywhere. It's going to be something like, you will declare us to be gods and start sacrificing your children to us, or you are not Mormons. So that's my outer limit prediction.
Fantastic.
But
Declare
we're moving towards that
gods.
in indefinite steps towards that outcome.
Nice.
Awesome. Nemo?
There'll be something along those lines.
Sorry, what was the question?
I know. Sorry, Peter. What do you think one of the main kind of themes from this conference is going to be?
I reckon I'm gonna go a bit left field. I reckon it will be about appreciating sisters. I reckon they might try and push on women and the role of women in the church. Because what we saw last time is we saw the multicultural parade last time. We had that one session of conference where they got all the remote speakers in and all those people from foreign countries, right? And then the next session started with Dan H. Oakes talking about the US Constitution. So it was completely tone deaf. But I reckon what we'll do is because they've talked. I was looking at some of the church social media, and they've talked about the Saturday evening session as being a special session of conference. I don't know what that means exactly, but I reckon it won't be a women's session by any means. But I reckon there'll be something in there. I reckon about women, because I think that hill will that will fall before gay marriage falls. Women will be included far before the gay community.
But the fascinating thing is, while they've had made their main enemy the LGBTQ people, they've slipped under the radar radical reforms, or what seem to be, on the surface at least, changes of rhetoric to be more inclusive of women. So in a way, the gay people have been taking the flak to give cover for radical progress on women. And at some point it might even turn around. I don't know. But I was in a group of faithful Latter-day Saints trying to stay in, who live blog, live chats the conference sessions a couple of years ago, and they were genuinely thinking maybe they were going to announce female ordination. And as it went through, the talks seemed to be going that way. But then Oakes gave a talk. No, priesthood keys, male, boundaries, and just killed it. So no, that's a tame prediction, Nemo. Come on, because
Okay,
they've
I
been
reckon
doing
we're
the
also
winning
going to
thing for a long
see.
time.
We're also going to see more temples announced in places where they're unlikely to ever be built. So, see China, Russia, things like that. There'll be like a Pyongyang, North Korea temple announced.
And the moon, a temple on the moon.
This temple will not be for tourists. This temple will be for the
Yeah.
Latter-day Saints living in North Korea. Right, we'll see that sort of bonkers thing.
Pyongyang
But we'll
temple,
definitely
love it.
we'll see more useless temples certainly being built. There will be at
Yeah.
least one more temple in Utah for the members that
Yeah.
don't go. I reckon there'll be a bit of a push for people to go back to church physically as well, as circumstances permit. They won't push it too hard because they want to stay quite woke, for lack of a better word, on the mask issue, I think. But they'll be trying to get people back, try to get bums back on seats, try to get tithing money back in envelopes.
Yeah,
Stuff like that. I reckon this is the conference where they're going to try and make baby steps back towards normal post-COVID. They're going to try and lay the groundwork for what the post-COVID church looks like.
yeah.
Again, that's a bit boring, but I think that is what will happen.
Well, Ozzy Johnson's comment, they said it's a special conference the last few times, but it was an anticlimax.
Oh,
Ozzy,
yeah. They made it imply like massive things were afoot, huge changes. And
I think that's
it
just
didn't. It was
the new chosen generation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Special
before it
conference,
was every generation is the chosen generation, the most valiant of the Lord's children, and da 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 da. And I think now they've realized, I said that a lot to a lot of generations. So now they're just going with, this conference is going to be amazing. You know, come and see a modern day Moses.
Yeah,
Like,
I
really?
reckon Russell M. Nelson, for a little Star Wars reference here, he's going to declare himself the new emperor of the Galactic Empire. Very much Revenge of the Sith sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
He'll even pretend it's been an attempt on his life.
Yeah. Well, look for some, like Neil Anderson is the biggest brown noser there is in the Apostles. I've been tracking his talks for a while. I mean, he has absolutely always been the one to declare that the prophets are the gods walking the earth. So I'm always intrigued to see what he says. I think he's angling to try and get into the first presidency, because he just sucks up so profoundly, and Nelson loves that stuff. So I think I'm predicting Anderson will get himself a first presidency ticket with Oakes.
I think something that has been said by Russell M. Nelson will get canonized into Doctrine and Covenants. I reckon he's going to be the first person since Joseph Fielding Smith, was it, that had the vision of Celestial Kingdom? So Joseph F. Smith, which one of those two? It's going to be the first one since that. I reckon we're going to get that.
Yeah, 1912 was that? It was a century ago. Yeah.
Cool. Doug, back with the massive changes to the missionary program. Perhaps the option for service missionaries in addition to proselyting missions. I'd have loved to have gone on a service mission to Africa.
And they
That's
already
happening.
They're already happening.
Yeah. So he's right there that this is going to be a big push that they'll do now. But what they need to do is actually fix what the proselyting missionaries do. If there are still organizations out there that can recruit far more people than we do, we should have effective proselyting missionaries. There's no reason not to. We should be converting the world. I've no doubt about that. And the fact that they aren't just speaks how utterly messed up the whole system is for missions. And everyone knows what's wrong with them and has told them. And the fact that they still haven't done anything about it is just extraordinary. This is one of my bees in my bonnet. Because
I'm going to go with a hashtag in all seriousness.
Yeah.
Hashtag. I've seen someone do this before. Hashtag. Trust him.
Oh, but not God. Trust Nelson.
Yeah.
No. Behind closed doors, Nelson will be like, "Whoa, trust me," but no, trust him, and it'll all be about how to live bravely by trusting Jesus in everything. And when people share the gospel, they're trusting in Jesus, that his spirit will be there to, help the people. So trust him.
Nice.
I'm gonna go
Someone in
with
the comments has just said they reckon they'll canonize the Proclamation on the Family.
Aussie again.
Another official declaration.
Now, there's a history there, which I've done long podcasts about, so I won't repeat it all. You'll be pleased to hear. But Packer tried to, and they edited him because he called it a revelation, and that got edited out. Then as soon as Monson, who did that to him, went gaga, Oakes declared it to be a revelation and whole hog.
Well, wasn't
the
proclamation a knee-jerk reaction to a case for same-sex marriage in Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
Because the church tried to intervene and they couldn't because there was nothing in their foundational tenets or principles that was kind of out there. And then Hinckley was like, right, well, conference is coming up. And he went to the sisters and basically took over their sisters session and said, right, I'm going to read this out in the sisters session. And they had no choice.
Ironically, the original talks apparently for that session were all about different kinds of families and being inclusive of different families. So they had to literally teach the opposite of what they'd originally planned their message to be.
Yeah, is there a Mormon Stories episode where a member of that General Relief Society presidency like comes out and she's like, I was pissed off. Yeah, awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so we think there will be a new hashtag because that's what they do. And before the end of tonight, we're going to have our own hashtag and we're going to try to make some kind of impact, even if it's small and only a few TBMs see it. I think it can be really good because social media is amazing these days.
And PD, might I say, you're very good at it. Hat tip, you're very good at social media.
I'm in Facebook jail at the minute.
Are you actually? For
spamming? Profiles, yeah. I don't. The thing is, I have my personal profile and a Priesthood Dispatches profile, and I used to do everything from my personal profile and post in groups, and then on my Priesthood Dispatches profile, I was trying to grow a friends group, so I was friending a lot of people that I didn't know. Some of you, I know you now, but then I started getting warnings on my personal account, and I think a bot has kind of gone like that and been like, "Ooh, that's the real one," and he's kind of kicked me out for like 30 days or something. It's absolutely despicable, and there's no one you could talk to.
Mark Zuckerberg, be ashamed. I'm calling you out personally, Zuck. We're gonna add this that hashtag free PD. Hashtag free PD.
Yes.
From Facebook jail.
Free PD. Awesome. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to speak about some of the current affairs in the ex-Mormon world before we kind of bring this whole thing to some sort of conclusion. And one of the big ones at the minute is the debate, the fight, the rumble in the jungle, I can't think of any more things, but the coming together of Midnight Mormons and RFM.
I can't believe this because you've got a trained and very successful lawyer being called out to a debate by three guys who, like, they may be good at debating, but I've been on shows with him. I wouldn't want to.
He will eat them alive and spit them out.
Yeah.
But his strategy's been great. He was very kind to Kwaku when he came on his show. And then Kwaku's been very rude about him afterwards. Yeah. So I'm hoping that RFM's gonna come out fighting. Yeah, it's pretty good. But as we were discussing earlier, we've had the preview with Jonathan Streeter who went on the show. So he's kind of paving the way for actually engaging with them.
I wonder if they'll let me on their show.
You know what? We're only a small British outlet, but I think right now we throw down the gauntlet to Midnight Mormons to see if they can do a better meme stash section of a show than we just did. Okay, we'll have a debate where people just throw in random memes, and it'll be like what's that comedy TV show where it's sketches? Whose line is it anyway?
Yeah. Yeah.
where you just stand up and the meme comes out, and you've got like 10 seconds to just burn it. You know?
Nice.
Because I contacted Midnight Mormons when they did the original kind of crucifixion of Bill Reel and RFM. And having listened to the full Bill Reel RFM episode that then they picked apart with the lesbians in the temple and different things, I got my salty TBM attitude on and was just like, yeah, you're wrong. You've taken it out of context.
Full Mormon Karen.
Oh yeah. And they responded, "Oh, come and save us, PD." And I was just like, "Stop being rude. I do not want to cast my pearl before you, swine." But yeah, Midnight Mormons, you suck. And that is wholly based on nothing. I've never met you, and I've only watched a very short amount of your show, and people will be like the same probably about this, but I'm sure you've got fans. RFM's going to destroy you unless you fix it somehow. You won't win.
Well, so this is my point I've made, that I reckon it's going to end up being behind closed doors, and that we'll only have the attendees' word for it. No, they're not going to allow it to be recorded, because otherwise they would have just gone on Mormonism Live. They don't want this to be a public spectacle. They want it to be in front of an audience. They're going to stack that audience in their favor, and that's why they're doing it in person. So they're entirely in control. Then they get to come out of it and go, "Oh yeah, we destroyed RFM." RFM's going to come out and say something. And to be honest, not calling RFM a liar, not calling them liars, but when that happens, both sides are going to have some sort of bias to say, "Oh well, we were successful." So the only way we would ever be able to know truly is if we just watched it for ourselves. And I don't think we're going to get a chance to do that, unfortunately. That's my thoughts.
Or their hubris has overtaken their sense of survival, and they actually think they could win it, and they will do it, and they will be destroyed.
Oh, I hope you're right. I hope you are.
I mean, it would be amazing. Like, so they've already got, I think they've agreed, they've said that Bill's going to be a sidekick already, Bill Reel.
No, RFM said he doesn't want Bill Reel there.
Oh, really?
RFM's just said in an update post, he just clarified and said he doesn't want that. He's approaching Bennett?
Jim Bennett.
Jim Bennett as a moderator. Who he
Yeah.
thinks would be good because he's a good neutral kind of person. But he said that he wants to do this himself, and he's listed a few of the reasons why he's doing things, why he's kind of allowing them to egg him into something, because he has a visceral response to apologists who refuse things based on those grounds. So he's like, well, I can't get annoyed at them and then not do it myself. So that's why he's done it, because people are saying, oh, it'd be better to have a written debate. He said, yeah, but I got really annoyed with Kerry Mulstein when he said that that's the only way he would debate Robert Rittner. So
I know,
that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So
anyway, either way, it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited for this. Wow.
I'll be texting RFM and sending him words of love and support.
Ozzy thinks Bill would lose his temper. You know, and Doug's saying they're going to try and do something twisted to him. They can't be trusted.
No.
Which you know, lying for the Lord. And if you are happy to lie for the Lord, then you're a bit of a snake anyway.
What are the moral grey areas you're willing to enter into for the Lord, right? Yeah.
Well, I just think if you can keep them on topic, they usually, most of their waffle is about themselves and people's responses to them rather than the content. When they've actually done and I actually I like them as people. They are feisty, they're fun to watch. But just the utter lies that they took, like blatant lies in the Tits movies, were like, so when they're actually dealing with evidence and ideas, they can't be honest.
They
And
spawned this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's all their fault. So in the hands of an experienced lawyer, they will be destroyed. Like there will be no survival.
Okay.
Bring it on. It's gonna be exciting.
We're moving on to the sacred part, not secret. of this ceremony.
Okay.
Now, it's usually at the beginning, but we've left it till the end, so everyone sees kind of where we are with church. And what we're going to do now is we're going to
I should emphasize, by the way, I'm still a believer and I'm still going, even though they exed me. You know, yes, they're thoroughly messed up and lying bastards, and they do all that sort of thing. But the religion itself, I think, is amazeballs and has a lot of potential still. So I don't, you know, and Nemo is also exploring similar sort of territory. So I think it's important to appreciate there's a range of opinions about Mormonism, although we're agreed about the uselessness of the current leaders. As far as, you know, the credibility of the religion goes, we've got a good spectrum going on here.
Yeah, and that's where we're going now, to the current leaders.
Awesome.
So we've got here a clip from 2018 pre-COVID, because I thought it was better to have a full conference center rather than just fannies in the background.
Oh, that's got to be another prediction. Accidental genital symbolism.
What accidental genitalia will we see?
So there'll be, you know, like penis.
No. I reckon there's nipples. I reckon we're going to see nipples.
Nipples. Okay.
Yeah, floral nipples.
Yeah.
Floral
but
nipples.
The fannies were incredible. And this is what happens when BYU doesn't allow life drawing in the art department. Another thing I'm deeply passionate about. They make giant paintings of actual vaginas to put behind the general authorities in general conference, and they don't realize what they just painted. They've no idea, because they've not actually done naked life drawing in art. I mean, it's a classic case of the unintended consequences of overbearing censorship. It's just one of the most beautiful moments in Mormon history. That was a couple of years ago. Fannies everywhere on the stage.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to listen now. And if this is trigger warning for anyone, you know, President Eyring's coming up. But
get your hankies ready.
Brothers and sisters, I will now present to you the general authorities, Area 70s, and general auxiliary presidencies of the church for your sustaining vote. It is proposed that we sustain Russell Marion Nelson.
Okay, sorry. Before we get to the serious stuff, everyone watch now what Dallin H. Oakes does. Okay, it's almost like he's preparing to write the naughty list. Okay, he clearly knows the order of things.
He's not voting with enthusiasm.
We're getting a bit of feedback saying that video's coming up quiet, so if you can raise the volume your end.
Oh, okay,
PD.
sorry.
Yeah.
Let me try and do that.
Right. But even at the one where there were the giant fan wars in the background, he was also had his notepad out. So Dallin H. Oakes has this thing that I've seen twice now happen, where he's almost in the middle of like writing something while this is going on. I wonder if there's any significance to it, or whether he's just perpetually always fettling his talk.
It's a displacement activity of some kind.
You'll see. Ozzy, I'm sorry, you might just have to turn it up a little bit. I'm struggling at this end. It's on full. I don't know why it's so quiet. Maybe Midnight Mormons will be able to tell us technically what's gone wrong. Here he goes. Twist it.
And president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
He started his list.
Harris Oakes, as first counselor in the first presidency.
Looks up. I'm here.
He is. He's checking on everyone.
Yeah.
Those in favor
Okay, we're not sustaining at this point. So we're still on observations of the process.
Yeah,
right.
So when I was putting this together, if you watch, like, we were all at Sunstone UK, and at Sunstone UK, we had a whole talk from a member of the First Presidency of the Community of Christ on common consent and the scriptural background, historical background, and foundation of common consent. When Eyring goes through these, he kind of goes, all in favor, please manifest it. Waits for an age. Any opposed, please manifest it. And then he moves on literally a split second later.
Yeah.
Like, wait for it.
As president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, and M. Russell Ballard as acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Those in favor, please signify.
Pause.
Any opposed may manifest it.
Boom, he's gone.
It is proposed that we
He's like a race
Everybody
car.
put their hands down.
So quick.
You know
That's
what I mean?
brilliant.
Okay. So there's a part at the end here. So what we're wanting to do, guys, this conference weekend is we're going to take the opportunity now, and no one has been coerced into their opposition or sustaining vote, but we're going to just play the part where they sustain them as prophets, seers, and revelators, and then we can all do a sustaining as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part of the video and put it into a TikTok with the hashtags I oppose and General Conference 2021. And then what we want everyone to do is to add their sustaining vote, whether it's to sustain or oppose, but still hashtag I oppose, but to stitch theirs to it. And what we'll hopefully end up with over the weekend is our screen getting a lot smaller and tens of people adding their opposition to it at the same time and saying I oppose. And then hopefully by the end of the weekend we'll have a video where there's lots of us all at once. We raise our arms and say I oppose, if you oppose. That is, as I say, no one's been coerced. Said every kidnapper in history. So let's just okay. So brethren, this is the moment.
Okay.
propose that we sustain the counselors in the first presidency and the quorum of the 12 apostles as prophets, seers, and revelators. All in favor, please manifest it. Contrary.
I can't. They've excommunicated me.
I oppose.
I oppose.
So if anyone saw that Peter there, Peter's not allowed to.
Where did that come from?
Wait, let's blow that up. What have you got there, Peter? Have you got a sex toy?
That's my Sunday tie.
Sunday tie. His hands are tied.
I try. No,
Um,
I can't
and
vote.
there's a reason that Peter's hands are tied, and it all comes down to this, Peter. You're a smart mouth. Classic Mormon ad from the 80s.
My goodness.
You're a smart mouth, Peter. Stop it. They don't like it.
I know.
When will you get that one? Okay, so that's bringing us to a close for this evening, and I think we've done pretty well. We wanted it under an hour, and we're only an hour and 45.
That's genius.
So I think we've packed a lot in. Doug Vincent, just remember, Peter's tongue is never tied. No, he's very eloquent. So we've just got some closing remarks from myself. Then we'll have some closing remarks from Nemo and from Peter. And yeah, so from myself, we've got the little TikTok campaign of I oppose and hashtag General Conference 2021. And also we have a small announcement. The Priesthood Dispatches blog is going to be published as a book, and is going to be following a fictional family called the Schmooners. And the Schmooners are a Mormon family, and you can no longer meet the Mormons, but you will be able to meet the Schmooners. So yeah, the book hopefully will be out in 6 months or so in paperback and digitally. We are running a GoFundMe campaign, and the link to that is in the show notes. But yeah, it's looking at traditional publishing. speaking with traditional publishers, they wanted a lot of editorial control, and they don't quite get where we are in Mormonism. They've not had the lived experience, and they wanted like 110% royalties. They wanted me to basically pay them and then some. So what we're looking to do is run a GoFundMe, but for everyone that contributes so much in the GoFundMe, they get a free copy of the book, so you don't have to buy it as well. So no commission for myself, just getting it out there really. But the Schmooners, the most unlucky family on earth. So we'll have stories from the point of view of sisters, stories from the point of view of priesthood holders, missionaries, youth, primary children, and possibly even spirits from beyond the veil.
Oh,
because we all know that our dead ancestors watch our every move. Can you imagine if you were following your grandson and then all of a sudden he kind of closes the curtains because everyone's out apart from you, and you're just like, stop it, no, don't do it.
I'm genuinely worried about that in my life. That's one of the key indicators of Mormonism.
Yes. So meet the Schmooners. So you'll see it a lot. I'll plug it a lot over the next 6 months at least, and hopefully we'll come out with a book. And if we don't, I'll just give you all your money back. Basically, not like the church. I won't invest it. I've got nothing to do with it. I'm not that interesting. So other than that, we've also got Thrive UK coming up, and Thrive UK will be in Bristol, and it'll be on the World kind of Thrive Day. Is that right, Nemo?
It is. It's the 22nd of January 2022, which is in conjunction with other Thrive events, one of them being in southern Alberta, one of them being in Utah, one of them being in Arizona, I believe. So the idea is it's Thrive Unite to get all the Thrive events happening across the world in one go. John DeLynn will be speaking to us. RFM will be speaking to us. But it's really a chance for British people to come find some community moving out of Mormonism. No doctrine allowed. We're not really going to be speaking much about that sort of thing, other than private conversations where you're kind of chatting about the church.
Yeah, and it's going to be in Bristol, like we said.
It is. It's in Bristol.
And we're going to have a very, like, it's, as Nemo said, no doctrine, and it's going to be very much, thriving after Mormonism, but we're going to have a good party. And just have a good time, really. Because I think at Sunstone, one of the best things was just connecting with people that kind of knew where you were coming from. Because it's so hard. Because there's so many jokes. It's so hard. Sorry, I'm talking about a serious thing here. But people don't understand in your daily walk of life. People don't get it, but when you go to these places, there's other people that do get it and can be just as angry as you are. So that's it from me. Priesthood Dispatches, the blog will continue to be published. I'll continue to fill all of your news feeds with random crap, and next week we'll have the Bear of Leeds speaking with us on Sunday at 8. So, but a trigger warning on that one. That will be a slightly more serious episode, because we'll be dealing with sexual abuse on a mission. So, and if anyone does have problems with that, there are charities in the UK and the United States that I have on the website at priesthooddispatches.com, so you'll be able to find help there on the telephone or via their websites. So now we will segue to Peter first, and then Nemo, to give a merciless plug of their fantastic work that's coming up.
Okay, so the Mormon Civil War podcast continues, and it will. My goals for this coming year are going to be to move more to an interview format, discussing, actual practical solutions for change in the church with people with some insight on that, and fomenting revolution. And we're hopefully going to be on Mormon Stories soon, my wife and I, and so sort of raising the profile of that campaign in a way, and from me anyway, wanting to have the church survive but in a much healthier format. And I love what I think General Conference is really important. These are milestones to see how the church is progressing, and the fact that you're doing a hashtag and a little campaign to get people used to voting opposed, we're going to have to do this. These leaders are driving the church off a cliff, and whether you're feeling very loyal to them or not, your kids are leaving the church. Most of them already have, and your ward in Britain is not going to survive another 10 or 15 years. So you are going to have to decide to rebel, and that is probably being practical. If they don't get the message first and make changes, it's going to have to mean that quite a lot of people literally vote opposed in conferences. So get some practice in, get used to it. Don't be afraid of it. This is your democratic right. It's in the scriptures. It's, we're going to have to get braver. So this is a great way to start contemplating that. And Nemo is, in his way, in a process now of registering an opposed vote to the leaders to find out what actually happens with that. Do they actually ever deal with your concerns? So I see my sort of prediction for the year ahead and the next year is we're going to have to get much more proactive and strategic about how to bring about institutional change. And this is going to be part of it. And it's been really fascinating to see how it plays out.
Awesome.
So thank you for getting the ball rolling, both of you.
No, thank you. And in a total unrehearsed way, Nemo, if we can hold on a moment.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's been mentioned in the in the comments by Gary Whitfield, and I kind of think he's got a point. Smart mouth stops you from opposing. So and for TikTok, for clarity, I think we need to do it one more time. But this time, Peter, don't shout that you can't. We want a solid I oppose. Okay, we'll just do it very quickly. And everyone else at home, bow your head and say yes. Okay? So let's just do it one more time. People want 2 hours anyway. Doug Vincent's like, stretch it to 2 hours. And we've only got 7 minutes.
Doug Vincent's the man.
Yeah, I think he's getting paid by the minute. Maybe just
Brothers and sisters,
okay.
I will now present to you the general authorities, Area 70s, and general auxiliary presidencies.
So we're going to vote opposed to the first presidency.
Yeah.
It is proposed that we sustain Russell Marion Nelson as prophet, seer, and revelator, and president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Dallin Harris Oakes as first counselor in the first presidency, and Henry Benyon Eyring as second counselor in the first presidency. Those in favor may manifest it. Those opposed, if any, may manifest it.
I oppose.
I oppose.
Dallin H. Oakes.
Perfect. There you go. I think we're getting really good at this.
Yeah, practice.
Yeah. Cool. Right, now we'll go back to where we were. Nemo, what have you got coming up?
So this weekend, you've got me and Peter and, by the sounds of it, Doug Vincent getting together and having a chat about conference. We're doing our post-conference show, what I like to call a halftime show. Very much like in sports, where straight off the pitch, straight into, right, so what was that about? We'll be doing that. I know others do a more detailed rundown later afterwards, but we do live reactions straight afterwards. What do we make of what's just happened? I'm also putting something together this weekend for you all. It will be a short video that will come out tomorrow morning, my time, if all goes to plan, where I will walk you through a little bit about opposing votes and there will be a pro forma document there for you to send to your state president should you wish to register an opposing vote. I'm rabble rousing, and I'm doing it seriously.
Hey. Yeah, man.
And then the other thing I'm going to be doing, which is coming up soon, which is a bit of an exclusive for you, PD, is that I'm gathering together some of my old friends that I grew up with, and we're going to be talking about the opposite side of the coin. We spent a lot of time talking about what it was like to grow up Mormon, what it was like to be a Mormon growing up in the UK. I'm going to talk to them about what it was like growing up with a Mormon for a friend. What was that like? One of them was heavily Christian himself. One of them's completely atheist. We're going to talk about that, and that's going to come up later in this year.
That would be really interesting.
Good. That is good.
Yeah. Cool.
Heard it here first.
That's like, got the scoop.
Yeah.
Wade just came into the comments. He just started the stream, but thank you for the content to all three of us. That is, get in, Wade.
We appreciate you, Wade.
Yeah, and I'd appreciate everyone. Send this to your TBM family. They'll absolutely eat it up. But if you can like, share, press this little. Oh, it's always the backwards. There's like a thing over here, a little box to push on YouTube, which means you can subscribe. And apparently they say if you ding the little bell, then you'll never miss anything that we do on Priesthood Dispatches. But from Priesthood Dispatches, from Nemo the Mormon and PeterBleakley, enjoy conference, and just don't die of boredom. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.